What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick NBA video. I know I took a couple days off, but I have to talk about Giannis. I didn't want to buy into the hype. I didn't want to follow what everybody else was doing, which was saying Giannis was MVP. He's the leader for MVP. And he might, I say he got a case for most improved if he can keep these numbers up for the rest of the season. He have a case for being most improved again because he has drastically improved all his numbers from last year, and he averaged 22, and this year he's damn near averaging 32 because he had 31.9. That's a 10 points increase. He's shooting 52% from the field last year. This year he's shooting 60. He's shooting higher from the free throw line, higher from the three-point line, more rebounds, less assists, less blocks and steals, but it ain't by that much. He can change that by the end of the season. So he has dramatically improved, and he's been consistently doing that season after season. We kept saying, can Giannis turn into a superstar? He has so much potential. He even every show I seen, they had hyped up Giannis. And it's fun because I live in Wisconsin. I live right by Milwaukee, that he constantly is getting better. And the scary part is he still doesn't have a consistent jump shot. I will say he has improved on the jump shot. He has a little face-up game. He has a little fadeaway that's good enough. But he is taller and longer than everybody. And it don't really take him that much energy to literally get the ball in the basket. Because if you're 6 foot or higher, which is a point guard to a center, you're basically tall enough to elevate and just toss the ball in the basket. I always say that because I played basketball back in the day, and all I really had to do was just get a little elevation and just softly tap it into the basket because I'm already jumping over the basket because I'm tall. So that's one thing that he has going for him is his length and his athleticism. The dude is a beast when it comes to the paint. He has excellent footwork. He's very mature. He's very patient. He doesn't force too many shots. He takes shots that he knows he can make. He tries to dunk as much as he can because it's easy for him. And if you get him by that 15-foot range, you kind of do have to sag off at this point because he's very athletic to the point where if he beats you off the dribble by a step, it's basically RIP to anybody because even centers don't recover quick enough to stop him from getting to the basket because sometimes he can just stretch and dunk or lay it in. He don't even have to try to just come in close and dunk it like somebody like Steph Curry will have to do. He can just jump in the air and just extend and dunk it, or he can just jump off his feet earlier and just beat you to the rim because he's so long and athletic that you have to be prepared for him to make a move or sag off of him to give him that jumper. And then sometimes he still just goes right at you and you just can't stop him. He is doing that LeBron James thing. When LeBron James was young, he could shoot when he needed to. He would shoot when he had to. And sometimes he would show off because people would trash talk him and he'd just show, I can't shoot. I just don't have to shoot every time because I'm so dominant at getting to the rim and getting to the free throw line. But Giannis has that ability too. LeBron James is shooting 60% and he's taking more shots from the perimeter now, which shows that he improved his game. But Giannis not taking that many perimeter shots. His three-point shot, we can't really gauge that because he doesn't really take that many. Some games he might take 2, some games he might take 1, some games he might not take none at all. So don't look at the 33%, and even if he fall off a little bit by the end of the season, don't really judge him three-point percentage-wise because he's not really getting that many up, and he's not really trying to do it anyway. Another thing is, can he win MVP? The problem with Giannis winning MVP is that they have to win games. The only exception I think that it didn't matter was Russell Westbrook when he won it last year because you had James Harden winning 55 or something like that game. You had Kawhi Leonard winning 60. Steph Curry won 60. Kevin Durant missed 20 games, but he had MVP caliber numbers. And Russell still got it, and he had the worst record out of all the MVP candidates. Including LeBron, and he was way underneath the top 3. So with that being said, Giannis will have to win more, and the fact that they're not in the playoffs and he has to incorporate Eric Bledsoe, because they just announced that Malcolm Brogdon would not be the starting point guard, which I thought he wasn't going to be anyway, and they will put him to the bench and start Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe going to take the ball out of Giannis' hands a lot of times. They got similar that they like to get to the paint. They can shoot when they want to. They shoot when they need to, and especially in late shot clock situations. And that's going to take away from Giannis' touches. Another thing that people forget is Big Bari. I love Jabari Parker. I'm a fan of his since day one. And he's going to come in, and they might have to give him off. He might have a minute restriction coming in. He might come off the bench. But Jabari has been a starter for them, and he's been a part of that big three with Chris Middleton and Giannis and Big Bari. And now that Greg Monroe gone, it might be Eric Bledsoe, but Bari is another guy that like to get the ball in the post, close to the basket, rise up, bang in the paint, blow past defenders, get dunks and mid-range jumper. He can shoot the three when necessary too. So that's going to add another ball handler, another isolation player. And their offense is already stagnated. Their offense is already sometimes is good, sometimes it's bad. Their defense has been a little iffy too, which I was surprised because they're usually a good deflecting and hard team to score on. But teams have really been going at them, and teams have been scoring, and they have been successful. And that's something they're going to have to improve on too if they want to go off to a long winning streak and get that top four seed in the East, was give them home court advantage. So I think they can get that, but we got to see how the Eric Bledsoe thing. But adding Eric Bledsoe and adding Jabari, that can plummet his numbers, because that adds more ball handlers, adds more isolation scores, add more people that need the ball, which means he's getting less shot attempts, he's getting less touches, and that can help him because he does need help, because he's damn near out there doing everything just like last year, but he did it to a higher extent this year. And he's young. He needs the minutes. He needs to touch. He needs to continue to develop, because NBA players don't practice as much as you think. And going in game is the best practice, because you're doing it. You can watch the footage and you can know what you can get away from. And you can show how you can attack defenses by playing in a real game, because you're going against how they scout you and you're getting better prepared for the next time you face them. So I like what Giannis is doing. I don't think he can literally win MVP, especially if Bari and Bledsoe come in. That's going to take shots away from him. He's going to have to play a more team-oriented game. He's still going to get his 20-plus a game. He still might get the rebounds, even though Bari is a solid rebounder for his position, and Eric Bledsoe is a good rebounder for the point guard position. So realistically, if Giannis can keep up the numbers that he have now, they will have to start winning, because right now they're a below 500 team, and they always been around that. Besides when Brandon Knight came, they always been a below 500 team in the beginning, and then they snap back into it by the time the season ends, and they get one of the top playoff spots because of getting hot at the end of the season. So this year they started off kind of rocky. Usually they do. They play around below or 500 basketball, and then they make a run at the end of the season and get into that top 5 or a playoff spot. So this is going to take some chemistry. It's going to take some shots away from Giannis. He is a good defensive player. I think he even got an all-NBA defensive team. He was an all-NBA player. He has improved, but getting adjusted to Bledsoe, acclimating Jabari back into that offense, and you add in 2 more scorers on top of that, I don't think he's going to have to do as much. I don't think they're going to want him to carry the team every night when you have talent like Middleton too, and you have players like Brogdon and them that's going to want their touches off the bench, like Tony Snell too, and Deli. Deli is another guy that he's going to shoot the ball to Ledovic. So they got shooters, they have length, they have size, they have a superstar, they have a guy that can take over a game, and now they have more pieces, and now they have a point guard that can guard the best position in the league, and he's a guy that's willing to listen, a guy that's willing to develop, and a guy that that's coachable. So that's going to add defense up front, and hopefully they can figure out a way to anchor the perimeter defense besides Giannis, because Thon hasn't been a great defensive player. Henson never, like, they trying to get rid of him, honestly, because he's always in a rumor and trade rumors. He hasn't really been an anchor defensively either. So Giannis is their help defender. Giannis is their rotation defender. And if he's out on the perimeter, teams have basically been having their way from the mid-range to from the mid-range to inside if Giannis is not around. So they got to play with more effort, play with more energy, and it's just going to be tough for Giannis to continue to put up these numbers through an 82-game season and you acclimating new pieces and Jabari coming back from injury. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Giannis can still win MVP? Do you think he can be most improved player of the year if he can continue to put his numbers up? Do you think he really can be the best player in the league years from now? I know we have Anthony Davis, we have Karl Anthony Towns, we have Kawhi Leonard, who's not even close to 30 right now. We still have KD, and we still have players that's coming in the league that's trying to make a name for themselves, like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. You have the Dennis Smiths, the De'Aaron Fox hit a game winner yesterday. So we have a lot of young talent that's coming in that can potentially improve, get better, and challenge Giannis for the best player in the league. But like I said, you still do have Kawhi Leonard, you still do have AD and players like that that's still young as hell, and they can still make a huge impact offensively and defensively, and they already made the playoffs and carried the team to the playoffs. Giannis finally did it last year, but we'll see if he can continue to do it. I don't think he's going to win MVP this year. Another question is, do you think he can win a scoring title? DeMarcus, Chris Tapps, LeBron, Kevin Durant, James Harden, maybe Russell Westbrook or Carmelo. It's going to be some teams threatening him for the scoring title if he can stay around, hover around his 25 to 28 range. He can get this. I think he can get the scoring title just because Jason Kidd utilized him a lot and the other players still adjusting to. But it just, like I said, it depends on how they acclimate Eric Bledsoe and Jabari back into the lineup. And he might have to take less shots. He might have to be more of a playmaker, or he might just continue trying to dominate and just rip off the rim every time he jump in the air. So I think he can win the scoring title, but I don't know if he can win the MVP if they're not winning. If they do win, he's going to get a lot of acclaim. He has the numbers, depending on how they fall down with more help coming in. It's debatable. So let me know if y'all think Giannis can win MVP. Let me know if y'all think he can win the scoring title. Let me know, do you think he can continue to average these numbers with Eric Bledsoe and Jabari coming in? And let me know, do you think Giannis can be the best player in the league? Because that's what Kevin Durant, he can be the greatest of all time. He took it a little further than everybody else, but you seeing what he does, seeing how he can score, seeing that he has a lot of potential and still things he need to add to his repertoire in his game, and he continues to improve, and he's only 22. The guy might have a case because the guy is only getting better. He's only getting more dangerous, and he's not even 25. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Nostalgia signing out, and I'm gone.